In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus.
Good morning. Today we're going to finish Numbers. And as we go through these last few chapters, it's going to reinforce a few of the things that we've learned as we've read through some of the Old Testament books. First, I want you to see, and it's in chapter 31, how God sets up the children of Israel to go to war against Moab. You'll remember the king of Moab went to get Balaam to curse the children of Israel. And so the nation of Moab were enemies of the children of Israel. It's in chapter 31. And in verse 3, God says, "Arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian," are you listening now? "To execute the Lord's vengeance on Midian." I want you to execute my vengeance against Midian. I'm going to war, and I'm going to fight for you as you stand in the battle. Well, we find out as we read through it that not a single one of the children of Israel was killed in the war against Moab. Well, as we keep going, we see that as they took plunder, they took things that God said they were to be wiped out. They didn't do as God directed in destroying the enemy. If we don't destroy our enemy, then the enemy is a problem to us. As you embrace the enemy, God can't bless us. There are repercussions. That's why God tells us what to do. We're supposed to submit to God, resist the devil. Our enemy is not Moab. Our enemy is Satan himself and his army of demons who are chained in darkness. But as we flirt around with things in the dark, then we are not agreeing with God, just like the children of Israel didn't. And so we can't help but have repercussions from flirting with our enemy. We need to learn to resist Satan and everything that he brings against us, because when we don't, then they get to mess with us. Look at chapter 33 and verse 35. It says this, "If you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come about that those whom you let remain of them will become as pricks in your eyes and as thorns in your sides, and they will trouble you in the land in which you live." Well, that's what happens to us when we play around with Satan and the darkness that he brings with his demons. We got to drive them out. We submit to God, resist the devil. So just like the children of Israel did in the natural when they were in the wilderness as they came out of Egypt, we have the same situation against our enemies, which are spiritual, Satan and his demons. Well, there's one more thing that I want to point out. This one's in chapter 35, and it's the last verse. In verse 34 it says this, "You shall not defile the land in which you live, in the midst of which I dwell." This is God talking. "For I, the Lord, am dwelling in the midst of the sons of Israel." See, the heart of God from the very beginning of time is that he would dwell among us. He loves us. He created us because of that, and he wants to be with us. Oh, if you saw anything in the book of Numbers, I hope you saw the great lengths that God went to so that he could be with his children. And that's the way it is with us. He sent Jesus. God doesn't spare even his own son so that we can, by faith, be united to him, and he can dwell in us and be among us in everything we do. Oh, behold that today. We will start the book of Deuteronomy tomorrow, and we're going to go through it in a week also. It's chapters 1 through 4 tomorrow. But I want us to see Jesus again in the book of Deuteronomy as we go through it next week. God bless you as you enjoy God who is dwelling with you even today. See you tomorrow.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world, but give me Jesus.